we all set? It's 3.
Yes, sir.
We're good to go.
All right, thank you. Are you ready to stop throwing money away on rent and start building wealth through home ownership? By the end of this seminar, you will understand 1, some benefits of owning a house. 2, the pre-approval process, first-time home buyer programs and grants. 3, home buying process and parties involved in the transaction. Welcome to our first-time home buyer seminar. My name is Davidson Ziga. I am the CEO and the real estate managing broker at GreenSafe Real Estate and Consults. I have with me my fellow professionals, Yuri, Abla, and Becky. Please subscribe to DZ Network, like, comment, turn on the notification, share, and help us grow. Let's start by allowing the presenters to introduce themselves, starting from Becky.
Well, thank you all for having me today. My name is Becky Chernisky. I'm with U Mortgage. I'm a licensed loan officer for over 25 years, and I'm here to answer all of your questions.
Thank you. Yuri?
Yeah, thank you for having me today. My name is Yuri, and I'm a real estate broker, working with GreenSafe Real Estate in Chicago. And I'll be here to assist you with any question that you have about first-time home buying process. So thank you.
Thank you. Abla?
Well, hello, my name is Abla Commissaire. I am also with GreenSafe Real Estate and Consult. I have been a realtor in the Chicago area for the past 6-7 years. So I am here to present as well and answer all the questions that you may have concerning buying your first home. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right, that's great. So one may ask, isn't it too much headache in owning a house? I would say no. There are several benefits of owning a home that outweigh any headache you may have. 1, you will build equity in your home by paying monthly. That monthly payment will lead you to build an equity. 2, you can convert your equity into cash, which will be a wealth building mechanism for you. 3, your home value can appreciate over time, because even if you own a house, you'll be doing some upgrades. All those upgrades can make sure or can make your home appreciate. And even the home value as it is, let's say this year compared to the coming years, you see that the prices of homes are going higher. So that is an appreciation that can help you build a massive wealth. 4, as you make your mortgage payment on time, it will help you build credit as well. And you may have a freedom, or you will have a freedom of your own space compared to rentals. Landlord can knock on your door at any time and issues about other tenants. But if you own your own house, you'll be able to control your own space and have that freedom for you and your family. So these are some of the benefits of owning a home. Let me pass it on to Becky to walk us through the mortgage process and some of the programs available. Becky.
Okay, thank you. Can you see my slide?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Great. So we're talking today about first-time home buyers because this can be an overwhelming process. What I like to tell buyers is it's not a matter of if you can buy, it's a matter of when, because I find the biggest hurdle and the biggest question is, can I qualify? How do I qualify? So we're going to cover those things. One thing that you'll hear is pre-qualification versus pre-approval. So what's the difference? When you're being pre-qualified, that means you just made a phone call, someone has asked a few questions, and you have a guesstimate. It's just a ballpark figure. That's not the way to go when you're serious about buying a home. A pre-approval is what every realtor and seller and listing agent who's going to be looking at your offer is going to questions, and you have again. So a pre-approval is where we're going to have a long conversation. We're going to talk about your income, your assets, and your credit. And I'm going to let you know if there's anything that needs to be worked on, so I can give you that game plan so you can work on it, so that you will become a homeowner if there is anything that needs to be worked on. Then we're going to run your loan through an automated system. All loans across the United States with all lenders and banks require that the loan be run through that automated system. It determines the financing eligibility. And then we'll be able to give you a definite idea of what you can afford. It shows everyone that you've done your due diligence, that you're working with a company that's taken the time to ensure that the pre-approval amount that you're pre-approved for is actually going to close. So how do I qualify? So everyone has to qualify with what's called the 3 C's. It's called credit, collateral, and capacity. So credit is your credit score, your credit history, and we'll ask you those questions. And what we do up front is we do what's called a soft pull credit check. So everyone's afraid of, oh, I don't want to have my credit pulled because I don't know what's on there. I don't want it to hurt my score. So initially what we do is a soft pull credit score, just to see if there's anything that needs to be worked on before we get going on that pre-approval. But your credit score, you know, there's a couple things on it that you can start looking at. So 35% of your credit score is payment history. That means if you've had a late payment in the last couple of years or a collection, that will drop the score. The more time that passes from that late payment or collection, your credit score goes up, because the credit score is essentially a snapshot of what's going on with your current credit. The other thing you can do is pay down credit cards, not close them, but pay them down, because it accounts for 30% of your credit score. So there is a golden rule that says if you owe 30% on your credit card, that's best. But that's really only best if it's a credit card you've had for a long time. If you go get a new credit card and you spend 30%, you're not going to get the maximum score, because the credit bureaus have one lever with your credit score, up or down. And when they think that you're going to max out a credit card, they're going to lower the score so they can prevent you from hurting yourself, and they know that you can't get credit. And conversely, if they see that you're not spending any money, or if you have a $10 balance, that's going to show there's no risk. They're going to say, let's give them the opportunity to get credit. So they increase the credit score, which allows you to get credit. So paying down the credit cards and not closing them is a great thing. So the length of credit history also determines it. Credit mix, so that's revolving credit cards and installment loans, and then new credit. So that's what I'll do is we'll take a look at, you know, the soft pull credit check. We'll see if anything needs to be worked on, and then I'll give you the advice that I think so we can get to our next step. The second C is collateral. So that's our down payment. And so the down payment depends on the program. So where can you get that down payment? Well, there's a myriad of options. So it could be your savings, your checking, retirement, if it's one that you can borrow from. We also have down payment assistance programs that we'll talk about, or the equity from a property that you're selling now. And I'll go over all of that with you when we have our pre-approval consultation. The other part of the collateral is going to be your down payment and your closing cost. So every loan has third-party closing cost. So upfront, there is something called a home inspection. It's not a requirement, but it's highly recommended, and an appraisal fee. The appraisal is to justify the value of the home. Then at closing, there are at closing costs. So there's title, attorney, insurance, and we'll go over that in detail. And so how can the closing costs be paid for? Well, it can be done with a combination of a seller credit, and I'll let Davidson and Abla go ahead and talk about that, and Yuri, where we can negotiate that. We can give a lender credit, Sometimes you can have your own money for those, or it can be a gift from a family member. If it is going to be a gift, we need to talk about it up front, because when we run that loan through the automated system, it recognizes if it's your money or gift money. And sometimes that's a layer of risk where not all loans get approved. And that's my job to help walk you through that and talk you through that. The next option is the capacity. So what are you capable of affording? Because you have a budget in mind for yourself as to how much you want your new mortgage payment to be. And banks, well, they have a budget in mind for you as well. And how they determine that budget is something called the debt to income ratio, meaning how much you owe versus how much you make pre-tax. So what's included in that is the minimum payments on credit cards, student loans, auto payments, child support, alimony, collections if they're not paid off. If you owe over $2,000 with a product called FHA, they could use a payment for that instead of you having to pay it off. And then the new monthly mortgage payment, which contains the mortgage portion. It also contains homeowners insurance, property taxes. And so each month when you make that mortgage payment, everything is bundled into it. So the mortgage company gets that, and then they take the portion for the insurance and the property taxes, and they put it into a special account for you called an escrow account. And when the taxes come due twice a year, and the insurance comes due once a year on the anniversary of when you purchased your home, your mortgage company goes into that escrow account and then they pay it for you. So you will never have to pay your property taxes and insurance outside of your mortgage payment. It's all inclusive. So that's also part of the debt to income ratio. What's not included, cell phone, utilities, or health insurance. And I'll go over with you what you qualify for based upon that debt to income ratio. So what's the best type of loan for me? Well, a lot of it will depend on credit score, but there's conventional, FHA, VA, and USDA. So FHA is the Federal Housing Administration. VA is the Veterans Administration, which means that you need active military or to be a veteran, like our ABLA is. Thank you, ABLA, for your service.
Thank you.
USDA, that is going to be for rural areas. So there's a map. You can even look for it on your own, but that's what I'm here for. And basically, that's going to be if you're geographically in an area that is zoned rural, and that's a 0% down as well. Then we have these non-QM loans, non-quality mortgage. So let's say we don't fit one of these four types. Then we have these options. The trade-off is it's a higher down payment and they're going to have a higher interest rate. So it's not our first option, but it's definitely an option that we have if we can't get into one of these programs initially. So our down payment, we have over 10 different down payment assistance programs. And what we do is we qualify you for all of them that we can qualify you for. We'll go over that once you're pre-approved. And you're not making a decision right then as to which program and which down payment assistance program you want. You'll get to decide once we're under contract. And the reason why is because each down payment assistance program, it has some pros and cons to it. So for example, sometimes with some of the programs, there might be a lien they place on your property for the first 5 to 10 years. That means if you try to sell, refinance, or have late payments, they might want that money back. And if you have a goal of this is your starter home and you're moving in 3 years and you know you don't want to keep that home, that might not be the best program for you. And that's what my job is, to discuss all of those pros and cons, and then you will make that decision as to which program works for you. So the difference between FHA, conventional, and VA, there's some variables here. So FHA allows that higher debt to income ratio, meaning we're going to get higher purchasing power in most cases. Lower credit score. So if the credit score is, say, a 500 to a 579, it requires a 10 to maybe a 30% down payment. If the credit score is a 580 to say maybe a 639, you'll probably need anywhere from 5 to 10% down. At 640 or above, that's typically where the automated system will allow a 3.5% down payment. So if you had a calculator, type in $100,000 times decimal 0.35, that's 3.5%. That's $3,500, just as an example of how did they even figure that out. And so what we're going to do is we're going to figure out, which of these programs is basically going to help you qualify for the program that best suits you. Conventional is great because they are going to allow for higher loan amounts. Okay, VA is the best loan out there, rightfully so, because if you're a veteran, you have served our country and you deserve the best. They have low interest rates, no mortgage insurance, whereas FHA has mortgage insurance for the life of the loan if you put less than 10% down. Conventional has PMI or mortgage insurance if you put less than 20% down, but it falls off once you've acquired that 20%. VA has no mortgage insurance, so that could save you anywhere from $125 a month at a minimum on up. So those are those 3 programs. So what are your responsibilities? So it's basically to make sure that if anything happens during the pre-approval process or until you've received the keys to your new home in your hands, that we talk about it. It's better to be proactive than reactive, because that way I can walk you through. If you have a question and you say, should I do this? I can tell you this is how it's going to impact your financing, and you might second think about doing that. So what not to do? So don't change jobs during the process. And these are the things that we'll go over in depth and more once you're pre-approved. Don't become self-employed, because if you're self-employed, you need 2 years of tax returns in order to qualify. Unless you've been in that business for 5 years, and then sometimes we can use 1. And don't quit your job, because the day of closing, the bank's going to call your employer to see if you still work there, because some people will buy a home in a different city and want to get a job in a different city. So it's important that if any of those things change, you let us know. Don't get any new debt. The day of closing, they're going to do another soft pull credit check, because they want to see, did you buy another house, a car, furniture, or boat? So all of these things take a low priority if you're trying to purchase a home. The high priority is the home. Also, don't excessively use the credit cards, and don't start making large deposits into your bank. No co-signing on loans, because even if you're the second or third person on a loan and you co-sign for it, it's still now your debt. And now that counts in your debt to income ratio. Now, when you're ready to become a homeowner, you can apply here. If you go ahead and put your phone up to this, you'll be able to apply. Thank you so much. Let me know what questions you might have.
Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you, Becky, for the detailed information. Let's pass it on to Yuri to walk us through the home buying process. Thank you.
So yeah, hi everyone. So I don't have any slide, but I will go with the basic process. Usually, if you are trying to buy a home, the first thing that we can help you with is try to identify your need, right? We're probably gonna go to what are you looking for, right? What kind of houses, how many bedroom, how many bathroom, car garage, and those are just basic need, right? And then once we identify your need, and I think that the second things will be, I mean, you still have to go through the loan application process. Like someone like Becky will help you determine how much you'll be qualified for. I mean, she presents all kind of loan that you might apply, you might be eligible for. So, but one of the basic things will be identify your need. And once we identify your need, the second thing will be the application process, get the pre-approval. And once you get pre-approved, now you can start working with us. We can go in the market and start looking whenever home that's what you need, right? And maybe the area, which area you want to live and stuff like that. Do you have kids? Like we can look at like things like school district and all those things. And then once we, I mean, we're probably gonna schedule have a showing. We're probably gonna go visit different home, and once you see what you like, and then we can submit the offer. And then I think that's pretty much the last thing of the process. So once that offer is submitted, now we can take everything from there. You don't have to worry about anything else. You're just gonna keep working with your loan officer, with Becky, and me, and just provide whatever documentation that we might need, or maybe the loan officer might need, and I think that'll be it. So
All right, thank you so much. We have
thank you.
another experienced realtor on the line. So if you can please touch base on some of the things that the first time home buyers or anybody that is looking to buy a house need to consider or go through. Let's pass it on to Abla.
All right, I'm going to be talking just like you said. After you identify your need, you have your pre-approval, you went to couple showings, you find the house that you really love, and it fits your needs and everything that you have. You put in an offer has been accepted, and now comes the attorney review period. After the attorney review period, there's an appraisal, there's a final mortgage application process. Then we schedule closings, we go through your final walkthrough, and then, at closing, you get your key. So I'm just going to break it down as to the last 4 steps in the process. What is an attorney review period? Attorney review period is when your attorney, and if you're the buyer's attorney, and if you're the seller's attorneys, you go over the contract to check over certain stuff. This is the time that you have 3 to 5 days to finalize the contract. One, they're renegotiating if that needs to happen, especially after an inspection that is completed and the buyer finds something that they want to negotiate on the contract. This is the time that it is done. They're checking for errors on the contract. If I'm looking down, just because I have my note here. So they're looking for error in the contract. This is when, the final is also accepted or not, if anything needs to be conveyed. This is when the attorneys talk about it and get it done. Of course, they're talking and looking at the contract with your best interest in mind. So this is when, as a buyer, you also talk to your attorney and see that everything that you're looking forward to in the contract is addressed during this period. It is also the same time the seller's attorney is also making sure that the seller's best interest is also represented within this 5 period. Now, a lot of people, they would think that they will need a little bit more times than the 5 days. All we need to do is ask for an extension when it is needed. When it is needed. If it's not necessary, then you don't need to extend the 5-day period. But if need be, or there's multiple inspections that you need to get done, you can always extend this period beyond the 5 days that you have for the attorney to get this done. So after that, there's an appraisal. As Becky stated before, an appraisal is simply justifying the value of the home that you're purchasing. And most of the time, especially if you're not buying cash, right? The bank will send an individual that appraise the value of the homes, and what they're using specific criteria to appraise the home. Most of the time is a bit similar to what we realtor use to estimate what we are drawing up the contract to purchase, but the bank will send this individual around to see within the 3 to 6 months. They use sometimes 0.5 mile radius to see how houses are being sold, the area that they look at the quality of the house, they look at the materials, they look at the overall value of the home before deciding if the home that you're purchasing is worth the value in which you're purchasing for. Sometimes if it's not worth it, we go back to the table to speak more about it. This is something that your attorney also handle. As realtor, we also look at your best interest, and we also look at this to walk you through the process so you don't feel alone. So depending on the situation, after the appraisal, we can either have a conversation or move forward to the finalizing of the mortgage applications. Once the appraisal value is approved by the bank, they're ready to issue you the money for you to buy the house. This is when you'll have a bit more conversation with your mortgage officer, such as Becky, to finalize the mortgage process. Once this is done, usually Becky will send an email around and say, you know what, guys, we are ready to close. That's what, as Becky do, that's where we all get excited. We're excited for you to get the keys to your house. So we will schedule your closing. Scheduling closing is just picking a date that works for you at an office that is, most convenient to you to get the deal done, to get the final signature done, to get the loan process, and for you to, again, have your key. And before we get to that office to do the closing that we have now scheduled on a specific date and time that work with the whole team that is working with you, we will do a final walkthrough. The final walkthrough is just for you to see that what you saw first is what it is now. That, you saw a green door, all of a sudden is not black. Okay, we're just walking through the house for you to make sure everything that is on paper is what we're seeing. Everything that was first there that you saw it and you love it is still there. And anything during the attorney review that needed to be fixed on the house is also fixed prior to you closing on the house. If anything that is not done during the final walkthrough or that is not stated in a document, such as an addendum that your attorney drew up, that need to be done prior to you closing on that day. If those final bitty things are not straightened out or is done, then we don't close until those paperwork and everything that need to be done is done. Okay, that's when you will now close. Once you close on the house, this is when I think the flooded questions come through. You are responsible for that home. The bills is yours to pay. The maintenance of that house is yours to take care of. But it's not something that is overwhelmed. It doesn't have to be done in one day. You just need to make sure at least within 24 to 48 hours, you contact, if you purchase in a city or if you purchase in a suburb, you will have to contact, the city billing process to make sure that you change the utilities into your name, because the seller that sold to you is most likely removing it from their name. So you want to make sure that the gas bill, the electricity, most especially the water, all of those things, especially those top three, is in your name immediately as soon as possible. You want to make sure that if you changing the key, changing the locks on the your responsibility. These are the things that I let client know, that at least within the 48 hours, no more than 7 days, all of these things should get done right away. You should get them done right away, just for your comfort and the maintenance of the place. When you're buying the place, you did an inspection, and on that inspection, a good inspector would list everything that is wrong with your home. So you have a knowledge to go back to see what are the maintenance that you need to do on this home. So for you to feel comfortable and to make sure that this house lasts as long as your mortgage that you have on the house. And most of the time, on average, a mortgage is 30 years. 30 years. So you want to make sure that you maintain this home and possibly do any necessary changes that you seem fit with the city code, of course, in mind, to make sure that you maintain that home. If you're working with us at Green Safe, there's a program that we usually suggest for new buyers. It's a yearly program that break it down on your calendar as what you fix time to time on your home. If you follow this calendar, you will be able to maintain your house without feeling overwhelmed. You don't need to wait till like year 3, the heat is not working before you panic or something. You can always call us at any times if something is wrong with the home, and we'll still assist you. So pretty much that's it. From there on, we become like your friend, your neighbor friend. So you could call us at any time to be assisted. Thank you. If you have any questions, I can address those for you as well.
All right, thank you so much. Based on the home buying process, as Yuri and Abla stated, we know that there are various parties involved in the transaction, right? Mostly we, the realtors, the real estate agents, we put every team together in terms of if we have a buyer, we link them up. We can link them up to mortgage officers, attorneys. If the home buyer doesn't have any preferred attorney, we can connect you to some of the attorneys that we have worked with in the past. When it comes to home inspector, we can link you out with home inspectors that have inspected most of the houses for our previous clients. After the home inspector, then we talk about appraiser. As for the appraiser, being part of the transaction is being sent from the mortgage company. So sometimes we, the buyer's agent, we don't even have contact with the appraiser because they do independent job. Somebody may ask, okay, what is the purpose of the appraiser if we, the realtors, can determine the value of that? Yes, we do the same thing. We call what we do as determining the value of the house as a CMA, critical market analysis. And the appraisers do similar thing and they call it appraiser. That is their profession, and that is why they call it like that, and they are the final say. We can just give you, based on our critical market analysis, we can just give you an idea saying that, okay, this house that they are selling for 500,000 based on what is happening in the area, we will help you, we'll suggest to you that we put an offer of 450 based on the market analysis. So we do that. So after the appraiser, then you connect with your lender again to go through the finalization of the mortgage document. Then the attorney will come back and then go through everything and make sure the legal documents are there for you to sign at closing. Another party that is involved is the title company. They work on the title staff. They put every document together, and mostly we close at the title company office. All the notary people, everything, they are there. They will take the final payment at the closing, and mostly either the title company or the realtor, which is us, will have the key for you at closing. And before we go to that closing that very day, our recommendation is that we do a final walkthrough. Final walkthrough is just to go back to the house to make sure that it is still the same when we do the showing, right? If there is any repair that needs to be done, through that final walkthrough, we reconfirm that the seller team have completed the final walkthrough. We highly recommend that we do the final walkthrough. It will surprise you. Some people will show houses all the way to closing, and that night maybe some pipe busted or something. That is why it's very important to do a final walkthrough before you go to the closing. So thank you, Yuri and Abla, for walking us through the home buying process. I think we have a couple questions coming from our viewers and possible home buyers. I think the first question is to Becky. They want to know, because one of the few experience I have with some clients is that they said the rates are so high. So they want to find out if it's a good thing to wait for the rate to drop before they buy?
Yeah, that is a great question, and it is a very common question. And, you know, in the last couple years, there's been a term that's used more often. It's called rate the date, marry the home.
Mm.
The reason why is because we know 100% home values, meaning your purchase price, will go up. There's no way to find the best time. It is always going to move up because your home appreciates. So what we want to lock in is getting in on that purchase price now, that home value now. The interest rate, we say date the rate because there's no perfect time. However, if you get your interest rate now, and let's say after you close 6 months from now, rates drop, well, great. We'll help you with a refinance. So that way you can lower your rate. But conversely, what if rates go up? Now you're stuck waiting for them to come back down. So at least now you can secure the purchase price of your home, because we know that'll go up in 6 months and a year. And then the interest rate, whatever it is now, we'll go for that. And if it gets better, you always have that opportunity to obtain that lower interest rate through a refinance. With me, it's a very simple process, much different than a purchase.
Yeah, thank you so much. We have a question that just popped up. I say, why is it important to work with a realtor? Because, if people feel, some buyers feel they can just go online, they see the house, they want to contact the owner directly, stuff like that. So this question, I think Yuri can answer, then Abla will do a follow-up. Why is it important to work with a realtor, and what is the process in having an agreement with a realtor, a real estate agent?
Yeah, I would take that. Why is it important to work with a realtor? Well, I think there's many different reasons to work with a realtor, right? One of the reasons, I will list just a couple. One of the main reason is because, first of all, when you want to buy a house, right, most of people they don't have a lot of knowledge about the buying processes and other things that come with it. So one of the first thing is that we can help you with is that we can help you with the collaboration of a lender determine your buying power, right? So the first thing is that when you come to a realtor, right, we can say, okay, let's find out first how much you qualify for. We can have you connected with the lender. That would be the first process, right? So at least determine how much you qualify for, because most of the people, they have no idea. They want to buy a house. They don't know how much, I mean, they have the budget, right? They know what they can afford, but they don't really know what they are qualified for. And then we also have some other things like the rate on the market. And I mean, there's so many moving pieces when it comes to buying a house. That's one of the first things. The second thing that we can help you with is that Realtor has so many resources to assist you in your home search, right? So once we determine how much you qualify for, now we can help you with your home search, right? So where are you looking to buy, right? Which area and stuff like that. And we have great tools, right? We can just have you add it in one of our MLS tools and just send you information about your criteria, right? Depending on what you're looking for, if you're looking for 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom. So we just make it easy for you. That's the second thing. The third thing is we can help you negotiate the price, right? So in the process, you just have to sit back, relax, right? And we can just do the job, right? We can help you negotiate it. We have you back in the contract when you come to go through all the contract and stuff like that. We can help you with the negotiation. I mean, there's a long list of what we can help you, we can assist you with. But I think the main thing will be the home search. Just make the process easy for you. So
Thank you
yeah, I
so
think
much.
that's yeah. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Abla, do you have anything to add to that question?
Yes, please. Just like he's rightfully stated, we are resourceful, right? Not only are we resourceful, we are organized. Not only are we organized, we'll organize the process. We also help you stay organized during the process. We also will hold you accountable for the choices that you're making, and accountable for the choices that someone else might also be making with you, such as the attorney. So through the whole process, we are, holding everybody accountable. And most importantly, we are having your best interest in mind, which means that we are working for you. So anything that you will miss, we have the professional eyes to see it. So, and you know, our integrity is to you, not to the seller, not to anybody and the team that you're working with, but specifically to you. Because of those reasons, I will highly recommend us at GreenSafe for you to work with. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Since I'm also a realtor, I want to add to that. As Yuri and Abla stated, realtors are kind of, again, we bring all the parties together. And the experts' knowledge and guidance to guide our clients to make the right decisions for them. That's licensed and professional realtors based on their experience. They can be able to guide you, school district, distance, price, anything. So the expert knowledge and guidance is key. And also have access to MLS, as Yuri has stated. MLS is the multiple listing system. So if you are working with realtor, you are not just stuck with Zillow, Trulia, and that's it. No, the MLS covers every other listings that is out there. Somebody will say they can find it in Zillow, but if you go to Zillow right now, even most of the listings out there are not updated. So if you want the most updated listing and access to most listings to make the right decision, it is the right thing to work with a real estate agent. Also, time saving and convenient. If you give us your parameters, we will do the search for you. We will do the search for you. Unless you yourself you want to, make some time, screw through, which we allow our buyers to do. But we'll do the search for you and make sure we save you a lot of time. If something doesn't make sense, it doesn't make sense. We'll let you know. Like I was saying just last week, client just sent me a beautiful house, beautiful mansion. Like the price is good. And she was like, "Oh, please, can we see this house right quick? And you want to see this house in about 2 hours?" I was like, "Okay, all right, let me look at it." And I check it on the MLS. The taxes for that house is $17,000. And I called my client, I was like, "You know what? Do you know the taxes for this house is $17,000? It's a beautiful house. I'll show it to you. Are you ready to pay more than $1,000 a month just for taxes? And another thing about that is that taxes you are paying is not going to help you build any equity in the house. Taxes is for the city and state. That's it. She was like, "Wow, I didn't even know that." You see, these are the things will help you save time and make sure you make the right decision. Another big thing is negotiation and bargaining. Oof, GreenSafe, you talk about Abla, Yuri, myself, will help you negotiate to the last minute. We will push to make sure we get some money back for you some way or the other, if it is possible. As Becky said, down payment can also be attained through seller credit. Yes, it's realtors that will negotiate that for you in detail and make sure that you have those seller credit as well. Besides that, we have the network and connection. As Yuri said, Abla said, we can link you to mortgage officer, like Becky, attorneys, appraisals, home inspectors. Just mention, even if you need people to move, we will help you. we can help you get people, that can help you move. Even repairs on your house. We have experts, that we work with in the past that we can link you. And also we protect your interests, and we represent you professionally, because every realtor has to be licensed by that state, and we are also bound by rules and regulations. So we make sure that we protect and represent you the right way. Market insight, we can give you market insight as to what is going on in this area, market trend, prices, all those things. The realtors have the knowledge to do that as well. Post closings, we'll take you there, see the house. You don't want to just close on the house and there is a bunch of issues on that house. So realtors are very, very important. And most of the time now, the rule has changed. Before, the realtor's compensation is solely lie on the seller. Okay. Now, the MLS, or National Association of Realtors, have changed the rule now. Commissions for realtors are now negotiable. Okay. That means that we as a realtor, we work as a consultant. Before we even start showing you places, you need to sign exclusive buyer agreement. This shows that we have the legal rights or the fiduciary duty to represent you. And this exclusive buyer agreement you sign will state how much the compensation is for the real estate company. And this compensation, at most at time, we try, even though the law has changed, we try as much as possible to negotiate with the seller, and the seller will pay us that compensation. So best case scenario, even our service for you is going to be free, right? Because if we negotiate that commission and the seller pay, you have our expert knowledge, experience, and everything, the transaction for free. If the seller doesn't want to pay our commission, that is where it will come back to you to pay. But at that time too, again, it is negotiation. In our company, Green Safe Real Estate and Consult, we have a cap, how much minimum, because we value what we offer, right? Every client is like a family to us. We go all out. We seek our client's best interest first, and we do everything possible to make sure that that interest is being represented. So we want to make sure that at least we are also still in business, right? Now, Saraka, right? We are also still in business. So if the seller is not paying, we'll come back to you. Then we negotiate. It's just like how you talk to attorneys for legal advice on any other issues. There are consultation fees and things like that. We realtors to have to stay in business. So it's not just about driving clients around, showing millions of houses, and nothing happened. No, that realtor wouldn't have, if he continued like that for 5 years, it would not be in business, or even have gas in the car to be showing the houses. So we want you to understand that realtors, based on their knowledge, to make sure they find you the best and represent you for your best interest. And also understand that working with a realtor, especially Green Safe Real Estate and Consult, we value what we do. We make sure that you and I agree through the exclusive buyer agreement that this is our commission, and we are going to do everything possible to put it on the seller. And in most cases, it happens like that. But if it is not, there are other houses we can see if you don't want to compensate us, right? But if you really want that, something we can negotiate and make sure that you are happy, and also we are still in business as well. Anything else somebody want to add before I go to the next question that comes in?
No.
Yuri, anything else you want to add?
No, I think you say it all.
All right, thank you so much. So the next question is about credit. So somebody wants to know, what is the best credit score to have before buying a house? I think Becky can help us with that, because they look at the credit score. We don't check credit, right? But
Right.
Becky, go ahead.
No, that's a great question. So the credit score itself, the first part of that question was, what's the best credit score? So the best credit score is 850. Mortgage credit scores go down to 350. when you're looking online through Credit Karma and some of the other apps, what you may be looking at is called a FICO 3 or a FICO 8. There's 28 credit scores, 28 FICO scores. So mortgage companies, we have 3 FICO scores. We use Experian FICO 2, Equifax FICO 5, and TransUnion FICO 4. When you're looking online, you might be looking at a different FICO score. Just like when you go to buy a car, they use a different credit scoring system, a different FICO, furniture, etc. So the best credit score will really depend on the type of financing you're looking for. If you're looking for down payment assistance, you really need to have at a minimum a mortgage FICO score of 640 or above in most cases. Even then, it's not a guarantee because all the loans are run through that automated system and it's detecting everything with the credit history along with that credit score. So if you're looking for conventional financing and you're looking to put the least amount down, say 3%, then you're probably going to want to get your credit scores above 700 because in most cases with conventional financing, because it's highly credit score driven, if your credit scores are below that, it's incredibly difficult to get a low down payment. You know, you'll have to have a higher down payment. So we'll talk about where your credit score is, or is there anything you can do to get it up? And then what programs are best for you based upon your credit score.
All right, thank you so much. Somebody wants to know, do you have to sell your first home to be able to purchase a new one? Abla, can you help us with this question?
Actually, it depends on the situation. Every situation is different. It also depends on the type of loan that you are going to use in purchasing the second home as well. So I think Becky can share a little bit more light on this question. But it depends. It depends on the situation. In most cases, no. In some cases, yes.
Becky, anything to add to that?
Right. So yes, if you purchase a home with FHA financing first, FHA in most cases doesn't allow you to get another FHA loan. There's rules, you know, that you'll need to move 100 miles away or you have 25% equity. But the next home you could potentially purchase with a low down payment with conventional financing. So it is possible in order to buy another home, you're upgrading, your family size increases, or you just need to move to a different city. That is possible to purchase another home and keep your current mortgage while still getting a low down payment on the next home.
Okay, that is great. Let me see if there's any other questions coming through, so we can jump on that. Let's check online if there's any other questions. Please remember to comment, even if you have any question after the presentation, just send us our question and we'll be able to address your question. So don't hesitate to post your question anytime anything comes in mind. These professionals are out here to help you make the right decision in your home buying process. I think we have one question that just popped up. Let me see here. Okay. Okay, so the question is, how can I get my offer accepted the first time? What is the strategy? So maybe this client or this buyer has been working with a realtor or trying to buy a place, but you submit an offer, the offer is not being accepted, like rejected. So what is the strategy? I think we'll give it to Yuri and then Abla will add any other experience to that.
I think you're on mute, Yuri.
Yes.
You're still
You're
mute.
still on mute. You're still on mute.
All right, let's have Abla go ahead. Then Yuri will wrap up because Yuri is still on mute. Abla, go ahead. What is the strategy to get your offer accepted the first time, possibly?
I think over the time, things has changed a bit. One thing you need to recognize is the type of market that you're in, what you're purchasing. The market do fluctuate, and each season is different. So getting your offer accepted the first time around is one, knowing the market that you're in. That's one. Two, also depends on how do you want the place? Like how badly do you want the place? That will also assist on your realtor knowing how to negotiate. For example, if there's a house on the market that hasn't been on the market for 2 or 3 years, is a different tactics and handling that offer versus a house that has just come on the market within 5 days and you're trying to view it and there's like possibly 20 people at the same showing as you're viewing. The negotiation tactic that we're going to use and approaching the offer is going to be different. So the most important thing is recognizing the market that you're in, recognizing how badly do you want the place, if at all. Three, also the type of loan that you're using to purchase the place also matter a lot. If a place that is going to need a lot of work and the listing stated that is looking for conventional and it may possibly be accepted for FHA, you really want to consider the type of loan that you're going to go with and negotiating for that offer, because it will make a huge difference in getting that offer accepted the first go. So those are something to recognize. And lastly, unless it's a place that is worth the amount. So trust that the CMA that your realtor is offering is coming from an expert. Use your best judgment on that. We're professional. We're not gonna have you buy a house that is $1 for $5 million, right? That's why we have an appraisal period as well to verify those numbers. So let's be fair here to you that is trying to gain a house, and also to the seller that is also selling the house. So those are the things that we look at in terms of offering an offer to the sellers to purchase. Thank you.
Thank you. I want to use this opportunity to thank our panelists, presenters for today, first time home buyer seminar. Thank you, our audience, for joining our first time home buying seminar today, where we discuss benefits of owning a house, pre-approval process, first time home buyer programs and grants, home buying process, and parties involved in the transaction. Please subscribe to DZ Network, like, comment, turn on the notification, share, and help us grow. Thank you. We'll see you on another seminar. Thank you so much for joining.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.